Good evening, good evening, good evening, good evening, good evening, good evening, good evening. How is everyone doing? I hope everyone's doing fine. I'm just waiting for people to mosey on in. Don't forget that this evening now we are going to be speaking with Instructor Mike about gun safety and things of that nature and the importance of, you know, guns and gun safety and things like that. I'm waiting for people to come in. I'm waiting for him. Hey, Kamiko, welcome. My lips be dry as fuck. Cut my TV down. Yeah, so this evening we will be talking about gun safety with Instructor Mike. Just waiting for Instructor Mike to get here. Excuse me. Oh, I need to brush my hair, y'all. Hold on. Okay, I am back. Hello, PM. Hello, Adam, son. And hold on, please. Wait a minute. I have to drop the link. Hold on. Shit. Here go my fingernails, you guys. Okay. Copy. More. Post. Paste. And check. There we have it. Okay, you guys. That link is for Instructor Mike. Hold on, please. Okay, here goes Princess. Hi, Princess. How are you? Okay, and she left just like that. Well, that link is for Instructor Mike. Waiting to see him. Like I said, this evening we're going to talk about gun safety and such. Okay. All right. Thank you, PMS. Thank you for just being here, honey. I really do appreciate you. Hello, Dina. How are you? And Tracy, my sister, my son Adam, and Miss Kamiko. Good evening, good evening, good evening. Waiting for Instructor Mike to get here. I hope everyone had a good day. I know I have. Very relaxing. Very, very relaxing. But what we're going to be discussing is firearm safety and women, you know, getting things like that. You set the live. Yeah, I guess so. Um, it's just an important issue. And, with our climate of how people are and crime and things like that, you just have to really watch yourself, watch your surroundings, and be as safe as possible. That's my thing. It's a safety issue. And I have children, and I just believe firearms in the right hands is a good thing. Oh, sorry. In the wrong hands, bad. So we're just waiting for Instructor Mike to get here and he will take over. And like I said, let me see something. Oh, okay. My nails, y'all. These damn nails. Okay. And there he goes. Good evening. Good evening, sir. How are you?
Good evening. How are you? How are you?
I'm well, thank you. Thank you for coming to Roxy's Lady Lounge. Um, to talk on gun safety and other issues. The floor is yours. Um, would you like to reintroduce yourself to people and let them know your qualifications?
Yes, my name is Instructor Mike. Oh,
Reintroduce.
sorry about that. I'm trying to see the comments. So, yeah, my name is Instructor Mike. I am a firearms instructor, former military, former law enforcement, stuff like that. So, I do a lot of different things from teaching parenting to mentoring young boys, stuff like that in Chicago. So, here we are. Um, and pretty much from what I was understanding, this is going to be was more so like a question and answer type session. If they had any questions relevant to firearms and things like that, it's important for you to get what you need to get to be able to protect yourself. Um, and so, yeah, I'm definitely interested in whatever questions you all may have. If you have,
Well, I'm sorry.
Mhm.
Go ahead, please.
No, go ahead. I'm just trying to see if you all had any questions. I'm looking at the comment.
Well, I'm waiting for other people to come in, but I just want you to give your views on firearms and women with firearms, safety, and society as far as firearms go.
Well, nobody's going to protect you but you. I think that's the best thing to say. Nobody's going to protect you but you. Um, it's very important for you to do what you need to do to be able to protect yourself when you do get a gun. Don't just go for the one that's flashy and it looks nice and it's pink and cuddly and goes with my sparkly personality. You need to get the one that's going to actually be effective for what you intend on, or what it's designed to do. It's actually designed to stop the deadly threat, take a life, things like that. So it's very important for you to consider that in considering holsters, because there's a lot that goes to this. You know, oftentimes you do have male firearms instructors who are not considerate about the specific needs of a female when it comes down to them carrying firearms, the curvatures and the body structures and things like that. Because most of us, we typically carry, either outside the waistband, inside the waistband. Outside the waistband pretty much is how you see the police carry it. Inside the waistband, you don't see it. It's more contoured or close to your body. And then, that is one issue. I would definitely say this. I'm sure you've seen the ways that people carry. There are bra holsters there that exist. There are thigh holsters and things like that exist. There's a bunch of stuff that's out there. I tend to operate a little bit differently when it comes down to those holster recommendations because I sometimes think about Eric with the mullet on Lifetime television for women. When he comes behind you and he wants to sit there and grab you from behind, and then you got to dick kick him, bump him in the head, and just you fall to the ground, and then where your gun you thought your gun was, it's no longer there. You got to chase for it and find it. There's a lot of things that come to carrying a firearm when you're a female, and I don't want to complicate things because it's not complicated, but you're really gonna have to sacrifice if you're serious about your survival. You're really gonna have to sacrifice some of the comforts when you're carrying it. Just like I heard you said yesterday, don't carry it in your purse. That's a big thing. But no matter how many times I say it, I'm blue in the face. No matter how many times you may say it, person's gonna still do it. They're gonna do what they want to do until that time comes where a person decides they want to pick you as the person
Right,
they want to, the R word or the person they want to commit any type of acts against. You have to have access to that firearm under stress.
right.
You
My
know.
thing, I have yet to purchase
Hmm.
a holster. Um, I should. I'm literally just like when I go to the grocery store, Walgreens or what have you, or I left some in my car and I need to go get it. It's literally in my pocket of my coat. You know, I was looking into maybe the body holster, the one that goes around your stomach that you can conceal, you know, you should, if you have a baggy shirt on or things like that. Um, I I have made the mistake of putting it in my purse. Especially if I'm dressed up and it's something that I cannot conceal, a weapon. It has gone in my purse, but I try not to do that simply because of the accessing it. You know what I mean? Because they'll snatch your purse, and they don't snatch your purse, and that gun is in your purse.
Surely will.
So I just, if I have on a coat, my big coats, it's literally in my pocket, and I need to actually sometime, maybe later on, I need to get to a gun shop because I need to downsize, because my 9 millimeters, it's a nice size, but I also have that Glock, that big Glock.
Yeah.
And it's kind of crazy because you can tell when I'm carrying it in my coat, I am carrying heavy.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
On one side, one whole side of my coat is leaning, but it's a lot lighter than my 9 millimeter. Because my 9 millimeter is a Smith and Wesson, and it's not, it's heavy. It's heavier than the Glock. And I was just like, this is very interesting.
Right, right.
Okay, there's a question for you.
Hold on, let me try to share this on different platforms so people can come on in. You
Thank
said,
you so much, sir.
no problem. You said, what's the best way to carry at 45 or a 45? I'm assuming you mean a 45.
And Dion, if you like, you can hit the link and come up here and ask. Anyone who does have a question, um, I will. Well, Princess can drop the link again. I think she can. And if anyone would like to come up and ask him anything,
Mm-hmm.
because Dion did have some questions last night.
Sure.
Um, she has a firearm, one of them that she has not shot ever, and they're both in the carrying cases. So I would like for her to, get some um, information on what she should do. You know.
Okay. Okay. All right. So I'm looking at your numbers jumping up now, so that's good. All
Thank
right.
you so much, big bro. I appreciate you.
No problem. No problem. Here we go. So, how to carry a 45? Well, let's go through some technical names. 45 is just the number of the caliber of the round.
Okay, here she is. Here's Miss Dion.
Hey,
Oh
hey,
shit.
Hello, Instructor Mike. How are you?
good. How are you?
I'm doing okay. So, I guess my question was, what is the best way to carry a 45? I've had it for some time now. Um, I'm a frequent person of the gun range, but I'm only going with my 9. I never took the 45 there, which I'm going to do because we had a conversation last night. So I'm going this weekend to take care of that. But what is the safe way and the best way for a female to carry a 45?
Well, 45 is just the bullet that comes out of the gun. So, is it a large gun, medium gun, small gun?
It's a small handgun.
Okay. Well, one, I can't really say the best way, and here's the reason why. I'm I'm slightly biased. Not the fact that you're a female, that doesn't bother me. I don't even do gender questions, but and the reason why I don't do gender questions is because, let me just be frank, when you go to the funeral home, you don't look for a casket for a female. They just give you the casket based on the size and dimensions. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Yeah. So the reason why I said I'm slightly biased by the best way to carry is because my military and law enforcement experience, I've always carried outside the waistband because we train for what happens if someone tries to pick you up, pull you down, push you down, fall. You move around, you're running, you're jumping, you're doing all other kinds of physical things with your body. You need that firearm to still be in the same place that you put it, so that when your body naturally gravitates towards the place where it last remembers it was, you're able to get it. So that's one thing. So I like carrying outside the waistband. That may not necessarily work for you, depending upon what you wear, what type of clothes you wear. So yes, there are other ways you can carry. Like I said before, they have bra holsters, they have inside the waistband holsters, they have thigh holsters, and a variety of different things that you can try before you buy based on what's comfortable for you. But I ask you to consider this. You are not carrying the firearm for comfort alone.
Right.
Carrying the firearm for under the influence, stress, ease of access. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Under the influence, stress, ease of access. Meaning you need to be able to get to it as long as you have four things: time, cover, distance, concealment. As long
Mm-hmm.
as you have the distance to be able to get to that firearm, and you don't have to remove a flap or remove this, remove that. It is too many things you got to remove, and especially under stress if you didn't practice that. Secondly, there are bra holsters. I forgot. Secondly, thirdly, I don't care what number we're in, but there are bra holsters that do exist. And I remember telling one instructor who was recommending this to people, to females, okay, cool. So you got that bra holster. Have you ever snatched that bra holster so hard you snapped your bra and now your breasts are hanging? If you've never shot with your breasts hanging, okay, then that's a whole nother thing you have to get used to, because now with one hand you're trying to hold it up. So now you got to maneuver with this, the breast in one hand and then the gun in the other. It's a lot of extra stuff that you're adding on, and it makes things difficult. So there's just a lot of factors to consider when you deviate from carrying the firearm on your waist. You know.
I
Makes
have a question.
it.
How do you feel about carrying in the small of your back?
Mm-mm.
It's fine, but if you're pushed down and that gun hits you,
Mm-hmm.
now you've got other issues. See, the
Mm-hmm.
thing is, people recommend holsters and they only think about you always standing up. They always want to put the operator or the person carrying that firearm, they always want to put them in the best light. Like you're always going to be standing up. You're not going to ever have someone try to grab you. You're going to always be paying attention. And that's not true. You know,
Right.
most people never become victims of crime. Most people see stuff and they know how to move out of the way. So the further you are away from whatever that stressor is that causes you to stay alert, the more relaxed naturally you get, unless you're in a occupation such as police or such as military, where you have a healthy trust, mistrust of people, where because of your former profession or current profession, you're always alert because you've been primed to be that way. Most people have not, you know. And then it's always the thing that catches you. Pop, now it's the shock. You hear something, and then you're frozen because your brain hasn't taught you what to do. Run
Mm-hmm.
back because you've never been exposed to that. And then you got to remember that you got a gun. Now you're going to it. You see what I'm saying? You don't want any unnecessary obstacles in the way. That's why I said I'm biased. I always carry on the outside. You know, I don't even care that it's printing. That's just me. You know, because I'm used to always wanting to have ease of access. So I don't know if small of the back would be good, because how many reps are you going to do small of the back? You know what I'm saying? How many times are you going to do that continuously all
Right.
the time when you're sitting in your car, you're driving, you having a good time spinning the block, right? And then next thing you know, all of a sudden something happens. Your first mind is not going to be thinking about trying to grab that gun, especially if the car is in motion. Because if the car is
Right.
in motion and you try to grab that gun, look at what the other hand is doing. So now you got that car veering off to the left. Now you're about to cause a traffic crash. Just try.
Well,
Mm-hmm.
only reason why I asked is because I've seen I've seen people do it in movies. You know,
Man,
and my thing is when I'm driving, when I'm bending the block, guess where she is?
probably outside in the cup holder.
Literally,
Right.
cup holder or on the seat next to me. If
Hmm.
I take my cup of water with me,
Hmm.
then it's on the seat next to me.
Right.
You know, because it's for me, it's the ease of access. Also, when I go to the range and I don't have the holster. I do like to have it sitting down on the stand
Hmm.
and the reactionary, you
Right.
know. And I like to even make sure that I already have one, you know. Sometimes I don't chamber one. Sometimes I have one chambered, but I like to make sure that my speed is really good with picking it up chamber, pow, 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 you know. Um, we have to get you have to go to the range with me. Cause Mike, when I tell you, bro, my grouping is sick. I done got real good. I don't have anything to do during the day sometimes, and that's just what I do. I just drive on over there and let a few off and buy more bullets and let some more off. But my grouping is really sick. But you know, but I just want to know that, and now I see, okay, that's not a good place to put it.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, people want people think about concealment more than they think about getting it. Because
Right,
I mean, and naturally that does make sense because when all you're doing is going to the range and then carrying it, there's more the emphasis on carrying it than it is deploying it. You know, uh,
right,
so just something to consider. I don't want to make it hard on me or anybody else. I try the best that I can to make it hard. I mean, to make it easier and simpler, because I'm not going to be around when you have to use it. You know, nobody's going to be around when you have to use it. It's just going to be you. You know,
right.
so that's pretty much. Hopefully, I answered your question, Dion. And
Yes, you did. I have another question. Well, actually, I have several, but I don't want to tie up the
No,
live. I
go
want to give
ahead.
other people the opportunity to ask
Well,
questions.
ain't nobody hopped up here yet, and when they do, then they can
There's
ask their
nobody to
question.
ask questions. I will let you know when to get the boot. You good?
Yeah.
Okay. So my next question is, how often do you recommend going to the range? Because if you never had to pull out your weapon um, on somebody, and then all of a sudden you carry it one day and something happens, and you have it, but it's not, like you said, it's not your first instinct to pull it out. You know what I'm saying? So how often, let me back up. How often do you recommend going to the gun range for some type of training?
I actually recommend getting more off the range, scenario based, body movement type training. You know, um, going on the range, in my opinion, is just the last thing you do in a series of training, because you don't live on a range.
Right,
If
Yeah.
you Right, you don't live on a range. So
right.
you're really going to get a feel for the gun and to get used to certain things.
Hmm.
I would recommend every 2 weeks at least, so you can get a box of 50, just to get some grouping stuff like that, and just
Right.
practice to get recoil. They have other types of replica firearms that discharge lasers that you can
Yes.
use, so where you can get the grouping practice in
Mhm.
without having to spend so much money going on the range. you know I would recommend getting with a creative instructor. I don't know where you are specifically, or if you even want to disclose that, that's fine, but I recommend you find an instructor who can put you in scenario based training, just to see what your body would do under that type of stress because
Mm-hmm.
that's going to open up a new level of mental realism for you to understand that in this environment, I may not do so well. And here is why, right? Like when you stand up, everything gravity does what it does. If it's contoured and it fits, it's there, it's all good, great. But then when you sit down, if you got a stomach, again, no shame, no judgment. We are just talking the facts. If you got a stomach when you sit down, stuff spreads. If
Right.
you got a gun that's up in front, next to your genitals because it's easy to access, now you sit down, guess what that gun just did? It pushed the gun forward. So now it's digging into your pelvis. Now it's uncomfortable. And now you're trying to get to it. But guess what? When you're standing up, now you're sitting down, these just went down too. So now you got to get past the breast. Now you got to get to the stomach. And that's the realist thing. Prime example. You ever went into your purse, thought something was there that you placed was in there, you thought it was in one location inside your purse and it shifted around?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, prime example, right? When we don't sit there and put ourselves in these scenarios for us to gain this experience, I could tell you all day, but until you experience it, it's not going to click, you know? And that's the type of training that you need. Someone who's going to, even with your firearm, put you in a scenario where they have on pads and stuff like that, where they can test to see how fast you can get to your firearm as they are approaching, right?
Mm.
When you fall and trip, time out. See, you you want to be in that type of training where you can actually call time out because you can't call time out in a real situation, right?
Exactly.
You want to be able to have something that you can actually evaluate to say, okay, maybe I don't need to wear these heels. Maybe I need to find me some soft shoes, or if I do wear these heels, be able to step real hard to break the heel off so that I can, you know what I'm saying? Or if it's
Mm-hmm.
expensive, can you get out of your mind and get into the battle? And you're not going to know that until you're stressed and pressure tested.
Good, good, good. Got it. But you did say every 2 weeks, 2 weeks of training, or what did you just?
I said every 2 weeks, and the reason why I said every 2 weeks is because I put that along people's pay schedules.
Gotcha.
If you go to the range, dedicate, some money aside. You
Right.
start off every month, but honestly, right. So at least at a minimum every 2 weeks, and you shouldn't have to do more than a box of 50 rounds. And it depends on how you. That doesn't mean top off the entire magazine,
Right. Right.
but maybe do two in one magazine, two in another, and work on your magazine reloads. Pop, pop, mag out, mag in, pop, pop.
Right.
Work on small stuff. Make that box of 50 stretch, but you got to be creative. And then, find somebody who can, I don't know where you are, but find somebody who can help you understand how to make a box of 50 stretch.
Mm-hmm.
You just top off the entire mag. You're going to burn through those rounds with no problem. And you're not
Right.
real value out of it. You be like, yeah, I busted some holes.
And that would be me.
Yeah, yeah. And the paper's like, no, you're not. I didn't do nothing to you. You know what I'm saying? Paper to talk. So just stretch it out. But I think that scenario based training is a great thing because everybody's ready for a carjacker when they watch the news.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I wish somebody would have came to me. I got a little Blake and them on the
Mm-hmm.
side. But when you least expect it and they come to you, you're not ready
Mm-hmm.
because our bodies and brains are like computers, right?
Mm-hmm.
This is the motherboard, and we are it. Whatever's in here is what your body's gonna do under stress. But if it's never been exposed, you're not doing nothing. You're gonna freeze because the body has no program to pull from.
Right. Okay.
Wow,
That
that's
makes,
deep.
that is. That's a lot.
Yeah,
Okay.
it is.
Yeah.
Okay. I don't see nobody in the chat say anything. So my next question is cleaning. How often should you clean? So I have the little small gun and I also have a 9. So how often do you recommend those guns be cleaned if they're not fired, if they haven't been fired?
Yeah, but see, Cleaning is not just for cleaning. There's a lot of benefits that you actually get out of cleaning your firearm.
Right.
Things is firearm familiarization. How
Right.
familiar you are with your firearm. Think about something that you spend a lot of time on that you take apart and put together, take apart and put together, take apart and put together. You're developing unconscious competence. The more you continue to do it the right way, to the point
Mm-hmm.
something breaks down or if something happens, one, you go to another firearm that you may have available, but two, when it's time for you to fix it, you're able to swap out barrels if you need to because you know how easy it is for you to do it. You're able to replace guide rod springs if you know how to do it. You're able to replace sights. I wouldn't recommend you do it unless you know how, but you're able to replace things at the operator level, things at your level. That doesn't require you going into a gunsmith. You know your gun. You
Mm-hmm.
know it. You spend time with it. You have a relationship with it. You
Mm-hmm.
know it.
Okay. Okay.
Now, would you suggest that, because she was saying, because I did kind of get on her because she hadn't shot her one particular gun in 2 years. Actually, she hadn't shot this one gun ever. And I was telling her, even though it's in the case, it can still get particles. So, would you suggest she would go to a gun class where she lives and they teach her how to disassemble the gun, clean it, oil it, you know, and that way she can learn how to do it at home, sitting at her dining room table.
See, if I take on somebody and I teach them how to do it, I'm not gonna go through just a 2 hour or 1 hour class. I'm gonna stress test you because I need you to have that experience ingrained in your mind, how to take it apart and put it together, how to take it apart and put it together, how to take it apart. See, the thing is, when people get training, they want to be, how real can I be in what I tell them?
You
They
can be honest, bro.
they want to be ego fucked. They want to get the kind of stuff that makes them feel like, ooh, I did something. You ain't did shit. We gonna spend some time with this gun. You have to have a relationship with this firearm. You got this. I want you. Matter of fact, I got some videos, and I'm gonna release them too on my page, Instructor Mike. You just reminded me I need to pull one up. When we were talking
Okay.
about unloading mags, I had
Right.
I had this one student have 15 rounds in her hand. And this is the type of stuff that we did, right? She put one round in, took that one round out. Put two, it was two. We went up to 15. Put two in, take two out. Put three in, take three out. Put four in, all the way up to 15. Your hands are going to hurt, but you need that practice. You need that experience to where it's unconscious competence. The brain is slave to repetition, right? And what you do, be it bad or good, is going to develop a habit, an unconscious, competent habit of doing it either right or wrong. And so we're talking about cleaning that gun. Before we even get to cleaning, you're going to be drilled in how to break that gun apart, right? Magazine out, rack the slide, through your rear sight at your front sight, look through the magazine, through the barrel, I'm sorry, rear sight, front sight is for aiming. But look through the magazine well, then look in the chamber. Make sure there are no magazines as well, no rounds in the chamber. Then you're gonna, however it tells you to take it apart, pull the slide back, flip this round, slide through, put it down. Take the upper assembly is what I call it, upper assembly with the slide and the barrel of the guide spring. Take the guide spring out, set it down. Take the barrel out, set it down. Those are typically about 4 or 5 pieces you're gonna take apart. And then what you're gonna do next, you're gonna grab that slide, you're gonna put the barrel back in, put the guide spring back in, take the slide, put it on to the lower receiver with the grip, and then do a functions check. And after you're done with that, we're just gonna go over and over and over and over,
Wow.
right? You gotta go over and over because that's what's gonna help you build the habit. When we get to go to the range in a minute, by minute I mean days, because you got
Mm-hmm.
up to that. You got to build up to that. And a lot of people don't have patience for that. They want that right now. So that's what I'm really saying when I'm saying, um, It's going to take some time with it. Take some time with it. You know, it's just like a relationship, right?
Mm-hmm.
You don't want to rush to a lot, especially if it's quality, right? You don't want to rush through because when you rush through, you don't really get any of the enjoyment out of it. You want to develop a relationship with your firearm. And that's one of the things that I appreciated about the military of past. I don't know what it is now, but the military of past is that they made us develop a relationship with the tool that we would need to, do what we have to do on the battlefield. And that type of stuff is extremely important.
Okay. I'm sitting here with my neighbor, and she wants to know what type of firearm would you recommend to someone that's never carried?
This is going to be an easy one. So, and I thank you for the way you asked that question because you must have paid attention when I said I don't do gender stuff. Because
Yes.
what type of firearm for a lady? And I'm like, oh, right. So 4 things: affordable, comfortable, usable, battle ready. Right, and I'll explain to you what each one of those means. I'll say it again: affordable, comfortable, usable, battle ready. You already know what affordable and comfortable is because when you go to the store, you're not just going to walk into a clothing store and see something you like and pick it up. Today you may be a two, tomorrow it could be whatever. Shit changes like that, right? So you're going to try it on. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Try before you buy. So affordable. You want to get the kind of firearm that's within your price range, but if the gun shop has a layaway plan, then don't rob yourself of the quality because of affordability because you got to wait for a background check anyway.
Mm-hmm.
So affordable, comfortable, and usable go hand in hand. You don't want to go for the firearm that looks good, even though looks are sexy, right? But you want to go for the one that fits in your hand like a glove. You want to make sure that the slide you're able to rack, the trigger you're able to touch without having to, maneuver your grip to the level of uncomfortability or where you don't have control. You want to make sure that any switches like slide, the safeties and stuff like that, if any are on the exterior of the firearm, you want to make sure that you're able to touch them and easily maneuver them and shouldn't be uncomfortable. Self-deception is the worst deception. So don't lie to yourself to get a Tiffany and Co. Colored gun when your skill is not there. I'm just saying, oh my God, it's fake. Don't why would you do that to yourself? Get the kind of firearm that actually works and fits for you. By the way, anybody who's here, the 18 people watching, if you're watching, hit that like button, hit the subscribe button, and if you're
Thank
from
you.
my page, show her page some love, please. Because that's how we help other, people's pages grow. I'm not worried about people following my page. That's all good. I got 750,000 subs on this one. Look,
Ooh,
I'm
Are
telling
you fucking kidding, Mike?
you. No, I got
Oh, my little big brother doing it like that.
yeah.
Okay. Bang,
Hey,
bang.
I'm humble. I ain't. I'm trying to throw some love your way. So y'all hit the like button,
Thank you. Thank
subscribe.
you, brother.
If you came over from my page, thank you. Welcome, welcome. You already know. Show her some love. Sound off in the comments if you got some stuff too, because we all can learn from that too. But back to your question. What's going on, Lenny? Back to your question. Um, affordable, comfortable, usable, right?
mm-hmm.
Make sure that you're able to touch the trigger. There's a thing called trigger reset. Okay. When you put your finger on the trigger and you begin to pull it back, of course, making sure no ammunition is in the gun.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
Ammunition should be anywhere near that gun. Okay. So you always want to check to make sure it's loaded. If every firearm is loaded, point that firearm in the same direction. Keep your finger off the trigger. Okay. Until you're ready to actually shoot. Don't point at anything you don't want to shoot at, stuff like that. But when you begin to pull that trigger back, how much space is it before you get to the first wall?
Mm-hmm.
Right? That type of stuff matters. Why? Because if the trigger is, hard or it's too hard to press, you got to understand the dexterity. Different people have different hand strengths. And so you want to make sure that your finger is able to touch the trigger and able to maneuver it to where it doesn't cause unnecessary stress or pain to your finger. You know, um, make sure that the magazine is something that you're able to handle. You're able to load it, unload it, stuff like that. And if you don't know what you're doing, be honest about that. Go with
Mm-hmm.
someone who can demonstrate to you before you get to the range, right? If they can't have this kind of conversation like we're having now, if they
Right.
can't have a conversation with you, they shouldn't be going to the range with you because 9 times out of 10, they, along with the person behind that counter, will lie to you and get the sale. And you'll think, oh my God, I got a great gun. You'll get on the range, you'll shoot it. It'll be uncomfortable. You'll never pick it up. You
You
never
hear
pick it,
that?
yeah, you never pick it up again.
She looking at me like I'm crazy. Don't look at me. Look at him.
No, who, me?
She
No, I'm
probably
talking about my neighbor. She said,
no,
Oh,
"Look."
okay. I was
your
gonna say
neighbor
no, it
probably,
wasn't.
yeah, because your neighbor was probably like, yeah, that's what happened to me. That's right. I said, fuck that gun. I'm not picking that shit up again.
You know, one of the worst things that ever happened to me because I didn't know how to hold. This is the first time I ever went to a range. I was not listening, and the fucking slide pinched the shit out of me.
Yep.
You would have thought it's like someone cut my hand,
Mhm.
and it bled, and it was really horrible. And after that, I learned how to hold correctly so I would not get pinched. I was like, and it pinched me so fast that I damn near dropped the gun. I'm like,
Mhm.
oh, wait a minute. And I was like, no. And that's when that was like my first foray with a Glock. And I was like, oh, I don't like these. And I was told, like, you didn't listen. You didn't listen.
Well, no, no. See, yes and no, but no. And here's the reason why I'm going to say no. It's not
Okay.
a real instructor who understands human performance will understand that I could teach you one thing in the class. When I get you on the range, that's a whole different stressor because now the shit is real. It's like June of 1944. Everybody's combat ready till you on that damn day, get ready to approach D-Day, and it's like, oh shit, we about to die. You know what I'm saying? It's a different stressor. You forget all that stuff. And so
Right.
that's where helping a person understand without me even putting a gun in your hand, just having you do this with your finger, with your primary dominant hand, and then having you take your thumb, right, point, touch, wrap, lay down. Point, touch, wrap, lay down. Then I put a firearm in your hand. Guess what you're going to do? Your thumb is going to automatically be out the way. Why? Because without you holding a gun in your hand, I've trained you to move your thumb out of the way. And so that's where an instructor who has gone beyond the confines of the curriculum and actually understands the body and the mind and what people do in training and in real world, elements, right? I don't need to put a gun in your hand. Just point, touch, wrap, lay down. And we would go through constant reps of this. Just constant reps of this. Don't even think about it. Because at first you're going to think 1, 2, 3, 4. I just want you to do it. Just do it. Just like this. And then we'll have you come from the holster. Point, touch, wrap, lay down. Point, touch, wrap, lay down. Point to the point where you're not thinking. And then I put the gun in your hand until you don't think. It's just like that. The brain is slave to repetition. But if you don't have that person repeat, you don't listen, I'm not going to. It's like you sat there and said, you could swim. Okay, cool, it's water. Throw your ass in the deep. You don't feel the bottom. Oh! I wasn't. I'm not so. Oh, I can't feel the bottom. That's not the goal of swimming. You're not going to always feel the bottom. Just swim, but you got to understand that and have the patience for when people fail. And some people don't have patience for when people strategically fail because failure is built in the lesson.
Okay.
All it is.
Okay, well, Lenny just said a lot of concealed carries are too bulky for me.
You mean a lot of concealed carry holsters are too bulky for you? Because you're saying carriers. Carriers refer to people.
Oh, wow.
I don't know. I don't know.
You learn something new every day.
Yeah.
Say what?
Right. You learn something new every day.
Refers
I
to.
mean,
Oh, okay.
no, go ahead.
Yeah, he's talking about grips.
Oh,
Oh.
Lenny must have small hands, and that's the thing. As a man, I've got medium-sized hands. My hands aren't big, so I get it. That's why you got to find something that's comfortable for you. Because if the gun isn't comfortable, just like prime example, the Glock 21, I cannot carry, even though I've carried a 45 before. The Glock 21 is a semi-automatic pistol chambered in 45,
yeah.
like the Glock, unlike the Springfield XD, M, Service, X Compact, whatever, chambered in 45. The grip is more so ergonomic to where it's able to fit in your hand while you're carrying that big caliber. So you just got to just try different guns out before you actually buy. Some
Can you
people
change a grip out on a gun? Can a grip be changed out?
few semi-automatic. Well, actually, yes, you can. It depends on the type of semi-automatic that you buy. Sometimes the back strap, which is the area, the
Right.
how it sounds, the back strap. That's the part where you can change. Unless it's on a 1911, you can unscrew those little grips
Right.
and then screw different types. So some firearms, yes, some no. It just depends.
Okay.
hmm Yeah. So
Go
just
ahead, Dion.
yeah.
So, I don't think I have no more questions. I already know about the home safety. I already have the boxes for both guns.
Let me ask you this: for home safety, do you play hide and seek in your house?
You know what? My trainer asked me that question, and I've never done that.
Well, you don't have to. This is not a yes or no question, but just think about it. If you got kids in the house, that's a
No kids.
okay. Look at you, empty nester. That's why you're not on camera. I got it. Part-time comedian. But so if you have if the kids can come back home, or you have other girlfriends, making a girls' night, whatever, party, and all of a sudden, let's play let's play survival. You know what I'm saying? All of a sudden,
Mm,
you got one person on the outside that's gonna nicely come. Don't kick in the door because you don't want your door falling off the hinges. But just come in the door, and all of a sudden you're playing hide go seek survival. That's a fun game to play because it'll give you a realistic view of your house and what you do under stress. It'll let you know. I couldn't see behind that corner when I was trying to hide. So maybe I need to put a mirror right there. But remember, whatever mirror you put right there, whatever you can see, if they're paying attention, they can see you.
let me see. Yeah.
So
Mm.
yeah, it's just things for you to understand. Maybe I can put a fire extinguisher right here. What will a fire extinguisher do? It'll provide you a smoke screen that'll give you time to be able to get out the way. Unless the person shoots through that, then it's a different story. You just need to think about other things that you can do because you may not always have access to your firearm.
Hmm. Okay.
Okay.
So
I, that's deep.
Yeah,
I see a lot of people, and I guess I just get this off of TV that people put their firearms like either under their pillow or under their mattress. Do you recommend that?
depends. It depends on one the kind of firearm you have because you don't want to plan for when you're awoke. Everybody's ready for the home invasion when they are awoke. But it also depends on the firearm because if you have a Glock or any type of firearm where when the trigger, when there's no magazine in the well, there's no round in the chamber, and the slide is forward and in battery, and you press that trigger and there's no recoil of the slide, if the trigger locks back, that's good. And I'm going to tell you why. So I sleep with my firearm next to me, but the trigger locks back, right? So when the trigger locks back, I am thinking about if I, under the influence of sleep, grab that gun and then press the trigger. You don't want the trigger that moves because you don't know if it's loaded or not, right? Especially when you're asleep. There was a situation where a off-duty police officer slept with a revolver. Worst mistake of her life because she was an asthmatic. So she took the gun thinking it was her asthma pump, which she was having
Ooh.
overnight, and the rest is history. You don't want to make that mistake, because what you do when you're awoke is different from what you're going to do if you're asleep. And then if you got GERD or whatever the case may be, and you get up or somebody startles you, you got to think about those things. So I like to have the firearm where I got to go through a distinct and intentional maneuver to be able to make that firearm ready. Yes, there's a fully loaded magazine in the well. There's no round in the chamber. The trigger is back. I grab it. Even if I grab it under the influence of stress and I'm holding on to the trigger, when I rack that slide, the gun is not going to go off because the trigger had not reset. So I
Right.
literally have to let my finger go forward for it to reset, for it to then be able to go off. So that's why you got to understand the mechanics of the tool that you have, and
Mm,
ask questions like what you're asking so you can get an understanding, and go through some physical things so you can get an understanding. Ah, that makes sense.
okay.
Mhm.
Okay.
Wow. Real quick, did this happen in Chicago with this officer?
I have to look. It was a female officer. I don't think it was in Chicago. I have to look at, matter of fact, in front of the computer right now.
Oh my God.
Wow.
Oh,
That
that's scary.
it is scary.
That's very scary. Oh my God. I just, whew.
Okay, hold on. I'm on this live. You might want to hop on.
do you, oh,
Um,
She
do
was
you,
on the phone like,
do
you have
you also,
good.
teach any sort of self-defense for ladies who carry guns?
I can. I don't make a habit of doing it because I really try to just. I've been so busy sticking to the firearm classes. I haven't had a chance to plan any extra ones, but those classes are coming because there's a lot of people thinking they can do superhero stuff, and it's like, calm down. I need to go on ahead and show you. You gotta wait. Just get some more training.
Okay. Yeah, I was always told never let someone get too close to you, close enough to take your firearm from you.
Mm-hmm.
And,
Correct.
it's a lot of people. Well, I'm not going to say a lot, but I've heard stories about people having their firearm taken from them and actually shot with their own firearm.
Mm-hmm.
And that is like very scary to me.
Yeah,
You
that.
know,
Yeah, yeah.
I was always told you pull it all the way.
Better use this. You better. Better do something. Better do something.
But
sorry
people
about
are crazy. That's okay.
I told her she should have been in here a long time ago, girl. I'ma shoot you.
Don't shoot her.
Right.
So I don't. Let me see. Do you recommend a special type of case to house your gun?
Yes, I actually do. I do promotions for a safe called Max Safes, and I can take that link if you don't mind, Roxy. I can take
Yeah,
that
go ahead.
and put it in the. Matter of fact, I will find that link right now, and I will put it in the chat. It's a vein reader safe, right? So what it does is, I like the safes where they have three ways of entry: key, touch, and vein pattern recognition.
Oh wow.
You have veins in your fingers. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
the reason why we don't do fingerprint is because as soon as you get something on it like sweat or blood, it's not going to be able to read that. But the vein patterns actually read. The glass sits lower than your finger, and you're just putting it in there, and it opens up. So I like that safe. It's something that I do promote, and I've tested it. If you go to my page and look at Instructor Mike, you'll see I've done the test of the safes. I did it with water. I did it with salad dressing. I did it with ketchup. I did it with dish soap, and it still opened up. So you need a safe like that. I do recommend that. So I'll take that, and then I'll drop that link in the comments for you.
Oh, cool.
Because the two that I have, they are both keys in combination.
Combination like how?
It's the yes, yeah.
With an actual combination,
Wow.
two to the
It's
left, seven to the right. Six.
it's like four. You know how you go up and down, slide the numbers up and down.
It's like, you know how they have like on like a suitcase and like that?
Yeah,
I know, but
it's
are
Okay.
key in
are
combination.
are you gonna do that under stress?
No.
That's the only.
So I need something that I can get to it quick, fast, in a hurry if need be,
That's not,
because I know where the keys are, but
you're not gonna have those keys though.
right, exactly.
You're not gonna have those keys. You're gonna be mad.
Right.
Yeah, you're gonna be
So
mad.
I just need to invest in some new boxes.
Yeah, that's why I'm about to drop this link. Try
Okay.
How many guns can fit in that one box?
Um, two in one, four in another. They have different variations
So
of.
I would just need one.
Yeah, well, yeah, I don't need all that, Mike. Yeah, so they do have different variations of safes. I have all five of them actually. Uh, yeah,
Lord
they
Jesus.
got a lot of safes, and they're pretty good. So
I need to, yeah, I'm gonna check that out when we get off of here because I think that would be handy, like here in, our place. What I really want to get, but we really do not have the room, is the stand up one that looks like a stand up safe where you can
there's
open it up and stuff like that because, you know, it's hard keeping a long gun
right,
and really not having um
Something.
anywhere to store it.
Yeah.
I'm just happy that my children are at the age where, and were when they were younger, they were not
messing with stuff.
they weren't messing with stuff, and they weren't gun fascinated because their father taught them very young that guns kill.
Mm-hmm.
You don't do this, you don't do that. He taught them to respect themselves by respecting this gun.
Right,
Don't
right,
show it to your friends and things like that because this is a law enforcement household. So we always had to be very careful. I remember one of my son's friends was like, "Yo, let me see your dad." And he was like, "No." And I heard the little boy asking, and I had to tell him he had to leave
right.
because you would be the one who fuck around and shoot yourself. And I would be in all sorts of trouble. No, thank you, sir. Get the fuck out of my house.
A bad influence, right?
Man, horrible. You like badass kid.
Don't
And
push.
let me see it. Go in your
Right,
parents' room and get it. You have to go, sir. Get out.
you gonna
And
push.
I'm gonna tell your mama
Right.
on you.
Mm-hmm.
And she didn't even say nothing.
Or you
Hmm.
She was just like, "Oh, okay." I was like, "Okay, my son can't be his friend no more.
Hmm.
No,
can't
Well,
do
I
that.
don't
Mike,
care."
I really want to thank you. Everything that you've given me, you were very helpful,
Thank you.
very informative. I have a lot of things to do. I got some homework to do. And I'm going to take everything in consideration and follow through.
Thank you.
And I am going to most definitely follow you because I know after I do this training coming up, I'm going to hit you up and let you know, Mike, this is
Please do.
Dion.
That's it. Please do. Please do.
So I really appreciate you. Oh, this was so helpful. And I told Roxanne last night, I said, oh my God, I don't want to take over the panel because I got a lot of
Oh,
questions.
girl, no. You know what? That's why I brought um Mike up here, to answer people's questions. Shit, I don't have nothing to do, and as long as he's not in any rush and you don't have anything to do, ask away. You
Yeah.
know, anybody in my chat, if you want, when Dion drops down, if she drops down, if you want to come up and ask Instructor Mike any questions, please feel free. It's this is what he's here for, and he's here to help answer questions that we need answered.
Yep.
I think it's very valuable, especially
Excuse me,
for,
you guys.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's very valuable, especially for single females that live alone, which is such as myself. I've been a carrier for 20 years now.
Mm-hmm.
I bought my first gun when I'm telling my age now.
Go ahead. Go ahead. You see it. You
30.
pray.
I bought my first gun when I was 32.
Mm-hmm.
And so I've never had to use it, but I've been to the gun range. I go with a friend of mine, and then I purchased the second gun. I think I was about 45, 46, somewhere in that neck of the woods. But I purchased the second gun at a gun show.
Yeah.
And so, and then I try to get my training in, but like you said, um, the training that I've been getting is not as extensive to the measures that you've outlined. So now I need to take that into consideration.
And I worry about,
I
my
appreciate
my girlfriends. Like, I know I'm not gonna go into Dion's, life, but I have a lot of girlfriends who do live by themselves.
Yeah,
And, I have one particular girlfriend, she is right here in the chat, and she's like a sister to me, an older sister, and I love her immensely. And she is a person who is afraid of a gun. The
Mm-hmm.
gun could be like on a table, and she's just like, oh my God. Because I actually had to explain to her the gun ain't gonna shoot itself.
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
She was just like, oh, but I told her she's gonna be coming to Chicago. And when she does get here, Mike, I would, if she says okay, I would like for you to go to the gun range, because I do want her to get a feel for it. I think if she got a feel for it, and shot a gun and knows how to load it, she would be inclined to purchase her one. This is a person who walks their dog,
yeah,
and even though the dog, he's a big dog, people can pull it with a person with the dog. I would rather her have a fighting chance. I would rather for any of my ladies in
yeah,
here to have a fighting chance, and nothing says fighting chance like putting some hot lead in somebody's ass. That's just me.
yeah, yeah.
That's
I,
just me.
for me, I had a bad experience. My father, he was chief of police of Fairfax County for 35 years, and he retired. And so when he used to come over to the house, he would always put his gun on top of the refrigerator when I was little. And the gun fell off the refrigerator one time when I went to open up the top freezer part, but it didn't go off, but it freaked me out as a kid. And I was like, okay, I will never touch a gun. And my dad was like, good, you don't need to. And I was
Because
like,
he didn't put it up.
right, 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 right. You should put it somewhere else. Now I'm afraid. Now I'm freaked out. But it was a learning lesson, I think.
Oh,
You know.
here's a question from Unique. She
Yeah.
says, do you have a virtual training for cleaning your firearm?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I told her that I do, and it'll be in May. I will be having, because my TikTok platform, that's large too, but you can't actually show guns on that. So what I'm actually
Right.
going to be doing is I'm going to be using Zoom to
Oh,
do not just the gun training and familiarization, excuse me, but a virtual cleaning class too,
oh,
because there are some theories and some theoretical stuff that we can go over that you don't have to be in my presence. Learning
gotcha.
about the parts of the gun and what the gun can do, and even taking a little replica and then going through these little we can do that stuff virtually. Because I'm
Oh,
not touching anybody in the class until we like get to the actual gun handling parts. But yeah, I will be doing Zoom virtual classes because people need to learn about the theory of this stuff.
So is all your training located on your YouTube site where you can go and find the training, or is it somewhere else where we can go and find
Yeah,
your training?
my website, I do have a website, Mike Brown's
Oh,
yeah, MikeBrownsClasses.com, but I have not put anything virtual online. I'm going to, like, within a week or two. I'll put that online where people can go there, click the link, purchase, and it'll be a very affordable fee because it's virtual, right? And we're not going to the range, but you are
right.
familiarization, and I'll be and with my platform, it'll be packed. It will go fast. So but it'll definitely be something where it'll be informational because I have my own curriculum. I don't really subscribe to other people's stuff, even though
Yeah,
we're not reinventing any wheel.
yeah, yeah,
But
yeah.
I like to have the freedom to be able to teach things the way I know works best, and so that's that.
Well, you've been awesome for me. Awesome, awesome, awesome.
Thank you, thank you.
I'm happy he was able to help you, Dion,
Oh
because
yes,
I was a little tight with you last night. You
yes, you
know,
was.
yeah, I was, and I'm so, and my apologies for being like that. It's just that I take things with firearms very seriously. And when I found out that you had not shot your firearm and, it hadn't been clean, and I am from time to time one of the most pessimistic yet optimistic people I know, because I always think about the worst case scenario when it comes down to things with guns, like jamming, they're not oiled, you know. Um, and I just always want you to be locked and loaded and ready to rock and roll if the time comes up that you need to skin your smoke wagon. Okay.
Yeah,
I am a gun girl.
yeah,
I am all for that.
yeah,
So I didn't say anything because clearly, yeah, she's definitely right about all of that because, I do tell in the class, first of all, I give people this large introduction and then I tell them they got to put their feelings in their back
Excuse
pocket
me, guys. I'm gonna go get some more water.
so that when I say what I say, you don't feel, offended. But when it's time
right,
to stop that deadly threat, you got to put it up, pull, point, and press. You
right.
got to do
I
it.
agree. I'd rather for you to be honest with me and just give me the full, this is what it is, instead of beating around the bush,
Yeah.
or trying to make me feel comfortable.
Hmm.
Tell me what it is that I need to know and just be, harsh, instead of saying, oh, okay, well, you're a female. Let me talk to you like this. And that's what I don't like.
Well, my thing is the only time I ever find myself having to be harsh is usually uh, on the gun range when stress and fear has taken over your ability to respond to what I'm saying. Then I got to jumpstart your brain by
Right.
letting drill instructor Mike come out instead of just instructor Mike, you know. But other than that, as long as you're able to comprehend what I'm saying, I don't have a need to do that because that's not going to get anything accomplished. I mean, it'll get you to. It's kind of like when I teach my parenting class. Punishment is so good that it tells you what not to do. It doesn't tell you what to do. And I don't want you to walk out in fear or shame because then that could affect how you learn. That could affect you wanting to go out and even try again. Plus, when I teach my classes, I introduce a lot of behavioral stuff into the class because, contrary to popular belief, there's a lot of angry adults who are angry children that attend my class.
What?
Wow.
Well, yeah,
Wait. They were angry children. Now they're angry adults and they attend your class.
there's a lot of people walking around with wounds from their childhood they have not healed from.
Yeah.
They have a lot of unresolved trauma. And a great percentage of my clientele are women. Now, I don't get into this man is this and woman is that. I don't get into that back and forth. Everybody is equal to me when it comes down to firearms because the outcomes are equal. But I like to uplift. Yeah, I'm located in Illinois. and I'm going to start to travel this year and next year to different states. So yes, but I like to talk. You've heard me talk. I like to introduce Maslow's hierarchy of needs into my firearms class. Why do I do that? Because I want you to understand the anger behind the person you are probably about to shoot. You know, there's a lot of things you got to understand mentally before we even get to the. So yeah, my Zoom class is not going to be one of these. It would probably be maybe about a 4 to 6 hour class
Wow.
within that day with breaks and a lunch in between, because I want people to walk away with a lot of knowledge for them to really make that decision. Do I really want to strap this shit up?
Mm.
Because I've had people really rethink carrying a firearm. It's like, no, maybe I'm not ready for it right now. I need to go on ahead and sign up for your anger management class. And I'm like, come on, I got you. Without shame, without judgment, we got to
Mm-hmm.
get past that, because I don't want to see you catch two C's, a case or a casket.
Mm-hmm.
Mm,
Yeah.
that big.
When you wanna get rid of a firearm, what do you recommend?
Throw it in the sea. No, I'm just playing. So, yeah, no, no, uh, no. But the best way to do it is, if you don't want to sell it privately, you could. I mean, if you sell it privately, you'll probably make more money on it. But if you just want to get rid of it, get rid of it. Take it to a gun store and see if they'll buy it.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah,
Um, so I have some questions.
go ahead. She about to bust.
I've been
Huh.
saying I'm gonna come see you for like before the pandemic. I always tease you when I see you because we go way back to Word of Faith.
Small world.
I
Small
got
world.
to find out who this is I'm talking to.
I don't want to come on camera because I'm looking at whole food.
Hey, 773.
Okay. I'll tell you who it is. I can put my government name in the chat.
Okay.
But my mama used to take your mama home when y'all lived on 77.
79. Yep.
Yeah.
Long ass time ago. God damn.
And I was one on the praise dance team with Kelly and Mercedes.
She's dropping names. She's right. Oh
And
God.
our
That
mama
was
sang in the choir, and I used to
yeah.
hang out with Angela and Denise. I still hang out with them sometimes. And Daniel.
Wow.
Yes, she's definitely dropping childhood names. That's it's all the above. It's accurate. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
So
Wow.
And here we go.
I'm
So since you grew up with me, is it a unfamiliar thing that I became law enforcement or got in the military?
I'm shocked. I am shocked. I am shocked. But I'm not, it doesn't, I'm surprised, but it doesn't, seem like you were always empathetic to people and sensitive to people. So I can see that. I can see the direction you were going like years later. But I maybe at that age of 11, 12, my insight, of course, wasn't the same.
Oh wow. You knew him when y'all were kids.
Oh yeah.
Yes.
She said word of faith. That's church. I was born and raised in a church. I was a musician. So yeah.
That's right. You played the guitar, the bass guitar.
Drums.
I
No,
seen you with a guitar that
I,
day.
I play the bass guitar now, but I grew up playing.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah. Because
Yeah,
I remember
I
that
was
day
like back
we
in the
were.
infancy of it all. Like
Wow.
that church on 127 that Jolinda Wade, that Dwayne Wade bought for his mother. Our church had that first, and actually the church was where that junkyard is, right next to that church. That's where we went to church.
127th and what?
Halsted. 12844 South Halsted.
Ooh, you're the exact address.
Word of Faith Fellowship. Ricky Singleton was a pastor. Yep.
Wow. Okay, this is beautiful. So thank you for coming up. And y'all already know each other. Princess, fire away. Wow.
So I'm definitely coming to take your class because I need it, and I need to be more familiar with firearms carrying. And this, our city is different. So, like, asking, these questions, I've been listening to the questions. So some of them were answered, were like, what is a good firearm to choose um when you're, starting out. Um Going to the range is one thing, and I heard you say um being in real world situations. So are there any camps, once you get through with the
Oh,
firearms, are there any camps or drill camps that would help with those type of situations that exist to kind of give you some real world or out in the woods type of
I'm sorry.
because I
I'm
know
sorry.
when he was going to take me out to Kankakee, we were going to shoot out there, and they have that out there, but it's still not this, it's different.
Princess, for the low cost of $29.99, we can go to the Dan Ryan Woods and I will chase your ass all all through there.
And I'm a bust a cap.
All those sound all those sound accurate. That is really something else. That is something else. So are there any places local in Chicago outside of what I do and what a couple of our other friends do and what we're putting together? There's probably one more place, but is it fair and far between? Yes. Because, or few and far between? Yes. Because Chicago is not really, doesn't really cater to guns like that. It's not like the South. It's
Okay.
not like Central Illinois. It's not like that stuff. And then a lot of people are afraid. Like if you're not in the military, you're not law enforcement, and you're not like in small circles, you're not really getting that realistic training because you got to have places, spaces, liability waivers, things like that to sign, and you got to have people who aren't like we're still safety conscious, but when we get to playing for real, there's some reckless shit that goes on, and it's like you got to have a crew of people who understand the reality of what we're doing so that we can really teach without having to worry about, oh, you're not following these safety rules. Now, we're not doing that stuff with live ammunition unless we go through safety briefings and stuff like that. But we want to be able to play. We want to be able to have fun. And there aren't a lot of places like that where civilians can do that without having to worry about other stuff. So I'm creating those spaces,
All right.
and that's gonna happen. Um, but it's gonna be a lot of non-live firearm training because I said I like scaring the shit out of people and seeing what they're gonna do when they're scared.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about.
Yeah, what I'm saying? Because I'm serious. If you go through my page and look on my page, you'll see a lot of videos where in class I've scared the shit out of people and they freeze. Like if you would do this in class, you're gonna do it out there in the street. Everybody is gangster when I wish somebody would break in my place. I'm ready. You you have dead. And so you dead, slob and everything. You get up, this arm is still numb. So when you throw your body, the arm is still back there. You forgot. So now you gotta shoot with one hand, but then you forgot your magazine is here, your gun is here, so you're not really ready, and you never shot naked. So now you gotta try to find some clothes to put on.
Not Bun B. He went out there dick swinging like I'm gonna kill you.
All the stuff you're like, hey, and shit. Just if you ain't, like in the military, we train like we're awakened out of our sleep and stuff like that. So just because I am in the military in 20 years, but it's still docked in my head to the point where I don't have to have nothing on. We shoot whatever you see is you see. That'd be the last thing you see, and then we'll get later. We got to survive, and if people don't train to that level, like if you're fortunate enough, and I'll use that air quotes, to live with somebody, y'all gotta be as one. They gotta wake your ass up in the middle of the night by throwing water on your face and see what you do. Oh! You know what I'm saying? Like that type of stuff
Yeah. I was scared, like, even though we lived in separate homes, but you be with somebody, you go stay with them, right?
Mhm.
So one day he decided to scare the shit out of me. He was talking that talk about the police or anybody come to his door. And he said, I know when you were saying hide and seek, that triggered me
Yeah,
because he said, I know every touch, he's ex-military, touch of my home. He said, and I promise you, you're not going to get in and out of here, within a amount of seconds.
yeah.
And so he said, go ahead, go outside. He said, I know how to go down the basement, turn off all the lights, whatever. And it was like a span of 30 seconds. I know it was less than a minute. I walked out the door, came back, all the lights was out. He had went and turned the triggers off downstairs, came up, had a gun right there. A shotgun right there beside me at the front door. And I was like, your big ass did all that in, in 30 seconds.
Like, please don't. Like, when we get out the military, if we're not in the habit of constantly, maintaining our weight, we'll gain it. But don't think that skill is not still there. You'll see some big guys do some shit and it's like, how did you remember? Well, we've been indoctrinated into that mindset, so it doesn't go anywhere. It's there. You're just ready, and you operate in the dark because that's where most of the stuff happens. Unless it's like an urban setting in Afghanistan, it's a different story. But yeah.
So, like I said, I have some non-traditional questions as well.
Hmm.
I did a report on the 6-year-old that came to the school and shot his teacher.
Hmm.
But the base of that is that this was a gun that was in his home. And the parents said it had a safety on it. And he was able to get a hold of the gun off the shelf, take the safety off, carry it at school, and pull the trigger. Now, one question everybody was like, well, you take 7 pounds of pressure to pull the gun, and how did he get the safety off and all that? Can you can you give some insight on those types of situation and gun safety far as storage? I don't have kids anymore. I'm about to teach my kid how to bust cap at somebody. She's excited. She's ready. She might be in class with me too. She paid her own way. But we're all about now being ladies in the city and learning how to protect ourselves. But this is a family situation. So I know that people take this for granted that they have kids in the house and they don't teach them the right way to handle firearms, but they don't teach them, look, there's a reason why you shouldn't have this.
So I've been blessed enough to train kids and train people with disabilities and abilities and stuff like that. When people say, "Oh, 7 pounds of pressure," how could you shut up? You never been under stress, because under stress it'll give you extra strength that you normally wouldn't have, because stress is motivating you, not your normal faculties. So children know how to shoot, and they know how to shoot very, very well, very, very well. They don't have a lot of inhibitions that could get in the way. They follow instructions very well, especially when they're motivated. Um, the mom didn't secure the firearm like she was supposed to,
Mm-hmm.
and that happens, because people think that, look, I wish my kid would do it. They gonna do what I say because I'm the head and not the tail. Look, that stuff never works when we decide. Punishment is so good to the point where when you're there, we listen. When you're not, we do what we want. We haven't been given any internal controls. And so I love teaching kids about gun safety, because the sooner they know and that curiosity is knocked out, and then they learn about the tragedies that could happen. Exposure comes before comprehension, but it can't be just, don't do this. Well, what do I do? They need to learn both sides, and so just get with the program where they can teach those things. I teach kids, of course, and I might just run through a virtual kid. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see.
But she said she had a sleeve on it, that she had something on there a lot. and he and he got it out. I'm like, this is just what they said.
So kids don't take socks off. What do you think a sleeve is? Just a sock. The dumbest stuff ever. Like
Mm.
punishers think punishment works. People with locks think the lock is gonna work. Like, ooh, this lock is nobody's gonna get into it. Kid is like, you know, just like I know you probably did the report on the mom who got shot by the 10-year-old because of the VR headset.
I didn't
Don't
do
get
the
it.
report, but I did do the investigation,
Mm-hmm.
and his mental capacity is severely degenerate. And even after that, to this day, he's like, okay, do you have my video games?
Well, I'll tell you this: we can articulate degeneration, sure, but before we get to degeneration, let's just talk addiction.
Whew.
Yes.
Here we go. Mommy, can I play with the? Here, shut up, boy. Take this. Go play the game.
Oh my God, I just talked to my coworker about that.
Go ahead and play the game. Go ahead and play the game. Go ahead and play the game. Didn't we just say the brain is slave to repetition? So you done sat there and fed this boy the game, and I'm gonna tell you just how good games are. Games, in my opinion, are the perfect parent non-parent. Here's the reason.
Oh, yes, it is.
You can fail and the game will let you try again. The game will not dwell on your failure. Maybe you get a 10 to 15-second song that lets you know you failed and you can immediately try again. It is the perfect parent that feeds your attention. It challenges you. It's rigorous. You develop a relationship with it. It is relevant. It's the perfect parent. And so
Mm.
when you feed the perfect parent to a child starved for love and affection, and then you tell that child no, you've literally given that child the virtual heroin that it will take time for them to get off of.
That was deep.
It was.
But that's what it is, you know.
Because that child was in very deep, but it's not just the video games. And like I was talking to my coworker, she was like, my son, and he's like 4 or 5, something like that. He's just way deep in the video. He was harassing me. I need my tablet. I need my tablet. I need my tablet. Or I want to play with my tablet. And now parents look at me funny, and I work in the school system. Uh, but I'm not a teacher, so I get to be on the outside looking in on some of the behavior. And these new kids, now you have to teach them on Chromebooks. Now you also have to keep their attention constantly. And they don't know, let's stop looking at TV. Let's stop looking at the phone, because even in the education system, it is integrated that they have to have this visual thing. But I've told people my children were not allowed to have phones.
Yeah, I
Um,
remember you saying that.
I'm adamant about that. I have 4, 5, 6 year olds telling me that they have phones and they have to play with their phones and their tablets. That's cool every once in a while. I'm with it. I'm definitely with technology and learning games, or you want to listen to some music, whatever. But this stuff is ingrained and indoctrinated in these kids now. They don't need it. And I was telling my coworker, well, you definitely need to put a timer on how much time you allow him, to be on the tablet or on the games, because it's only going to get worse. I know you've been at work all day, you're getting on your nerves, and he's nagging you, but who's the boss here? If you don't shut the fuck up and get out my face, and you ain't got to talk to him like that, but that's what I be thinking, right? Get out of here. Go read a book. Go, if you can't. She said, I can't send my kids outside. I said, I can understand that. But there are so many alternatives to this, right? And I've also noticed like what he's saying about the anger. It's true that that connection is so very true, because now I also see I was sitting there at work late. I just stayed there so I can get some work done and I can be focused. Like I wouldn't be on the TV watch YouTube or people going in and out. I wouldn't. I promised the boss I would get done with what I said I was going to do. So I was just sitting at the table, kids bothering me. I was like, if y'all don't get out of here, so I can do my homework. And then finally they was like, all right. But part of that time is I'm seeing one of the kids. I said he don't act like this during the day. Just literally first grade, screaming because he's angry and upset. I see so many issues with kids screaming, upset, fighting. And some of the parents, you talk to them, well, I don't have time for, like, literally woman said that I'm not finna stop kicking it with my friends so that I can monitor or make sure that my 8-year-old stays in the house. Mama gotta have a life too. And these
What?
parents are letting these toys babysit their kids, or electronics babysit their kids and parent their kids, and these kids are angry, and when you try to give them real life boundaries, they become different, very different. They brought a conference in my office on Friday. I'm sitting there chilling. The kids was partying all day Friday, so I was like, okay, I can get some work done part of the day. They brought someone in there and in the room, and these kids, I know they already had an issue. I work with some of them on the weekends, and the one girl who I know, she don't know that I know that she's a social media bully, because I get tea from the kids because they like me, right? And they keep trying to instigate things between these girls, and two of them had already fought. And she was like, I got so angry. The reason why, they said she pushed the door so hard that she almost really injured a teacher. She hit a teacher's leg. And she says, I was so angry, I blacked out. I was starting to black out. And you're talking about 13 years old. And I sat there for a minute and I interrupted the conversation. I said, excuse me, are you saying you were so angry that you were about to completely black out? And she says, yes, I was that mad. That's unheard of to me.
Well, that's built up actually, because there are three things that people do with when they have anger issues. They stuff it, they escalate it, and then they manage it. And there's an abundance of children who are stuffing the anger because they have no outlet. You know, um, and they figure that we all have a need for attention in certain cases. Some of it gets fed positively, some of it gets fed negatively. But if they have a need for attention or for quality time, and they're not going to give me the quality time when I'm being good, oh, I'm going to get that quality time and I'm going to be bad. And with the mom who said, I got to spend time with my friends because mom's got to have a life too, it's like, without shame or judgment, does mom even want to be a parent? Some people don't want to be parents. They became parents by happenstance, a one night stand that went left, whatever the case may
Well,
be.
I'm good with that, but that woman got 6 on. So at some point,
And
baby,
it's a bag.
yeah.
It's a bag. We got to be honest. And the thing is, when you're in certain settings, you may not be able to say certain things, but for some people, it's a bag, especially if you factor in children with IEPs and 504 plans. Some people have IEPs because they really have a need for the individualized education plan. But some people are IEPs because, the mom and or dad, whatever, is making money through various outlets and things like that, selling off the children's social stuff like that. But then you got the school system where, each child gets 15,000, but then when you get an IEP, the school gets double the money. So everybody's getting paid and the child's not getting any instruction, any attention. And so they're coming there and they're fighting. They're taking out their issues and releasing their pressures upon other children. And it's the slightest thing that is being said, and then all these kids have short fuses and they blow up on each other.
That's scary.
Yeah, but it's real.
Yeah.
And that's my everyday.
Hmm. I'm sure. I used to work.
That's my everyday. And I'm not a teacher, but I'm support
Mhm.
to a lot of, but I'm definitely primary.
Sure.
And these COVID babies are a whole different beast.
Hmm.
And I have one kid, that same mother, one of her children, he just started calling me mom. He's like, that's my mom.
Hmm.
And I know these kids would beat a nail and strike a brick over me. And I have to be careful about that because he's always hugging on me. They need that attention. And he's gotten to the point that he's vocally said, uh, he not just me, he was like, I don't want to go home. You know, kids were like, it's Friday, I get to go home. And he's like, I'd rather stay in school every
Wow.
day. I was like, I've never heard a child say, I'd rather be in school all day
Yeah.
than to go home for the weekend. He was like, it's like torture to me. It's very irritating
Yeah.
to be at home. But in this same child, we had a soft lockdown. First day of school, I think it was, when we came back from vacation. And I come into the classroom and he was like, yeah, police was just chasing somebody down the street. Like, these kids are insensitive to this.
Hmm. Yeah.
They are desensitized, and that hurt me so bad because he was so cavalier about it.
Hmm.
Oh yeah, something's happening. You know, somebody got shot 2 blocks down. They were like, okay, and literally somebody got shot in front of the school. I was upstairs doing something. I didn't even know what happened. This is how hood it is. Um, Allegedly, a little boy said something or did something inappropriate to another girl, and they like in the 7th grade, and her older brother came and shot this child.
I can see that.
Oh. Oh.
Yeah.
So what do we do as a community to help with the children's anger and gun? Like, they not going to the gun store and going to get guns.
No.
Okay.
Yeah.
And being safe with helping them, like, not want to hurt people in that manner, because some of these kids will shoot you.
Hmm. Yep. They will. Well, that's where I've started my home life skills for boys workshop, because they need skills, they need tools, they need someone who cares. I don't know if you've read the book, the five love languages for children.
Can you please tell everyone about your book, and if you have one handy, can you please hold it up and let people know where they can get it?
I have one. I don't have one on me, but you can
Oh,
go
shit.
to MikeBrownsBooks.com. Um, but that book I didn't write. The Five Love Languages for Children is a book that explains uh, what children's love languages are. And when you were talking about the one who kept coming up to you and hugging you, physical touch. You know, some children are that. Matter of fact, I would say arguably most people are touchy. You know, because touch is a love language. Words of affirmation, a love language. You know, acts of service, always helping people out. You know, so it's just learning about how kids communicate. You know, and with the one kid where it's hard to recognize and observe your boundaries, it's hard to practice and observe. Strike that. It's hard to observe and respect one's boundaries when they've never been able to practice it.
Hmm.
If their boundaries have never been respected and honored at home, then they've learned not to respect anybody else's boundaries. We don't let children, you know, get to say no and be able to, you know, have that no respected. It's always do what I say. You don't get closed doors. You don't get this. You don't get that. You don't tell me no. It's always got to be yes. Because if I hear no, the adult can't take the no. So if the adult can't take the no, the child can't practice no.
Hmm.
If the child can't practice no, then they doggone sure are not going to respect another person's no.
Ooh,
Sometimes I think I remind him of his mother too, because she big and fluffy. She got a big booty and big titties and all that. So
Okay, let him know.
I was thinking that as well, but he needs attention and love.
He does. Yeah, he does.
I was looking for the web. You said Mike
Mike
Brown.
MikeBrownsBooks.com.
Oh, with an S.
Yeah. Now you won't see the 5 love languages on there. That's not my book. But I have written social emotional books based on Maslow's hierarchy of needs. All of them are $5. They're in the Chicago Public Library, other libraries nationwide, schools and stuff like that. So um, just as tools for parents to be able to start to do the work with their children, you know, and say, but the parent has to want to be a parent, number one, and then the parent has to deal with their own unresolved trauma without shame and without judgment. And that often gets in the way. That's why I cannot stand this men versus women constant battle. I cannot stand it because as long as you keep saying who's better, we're not dealing with the real life trauma that both sides actually have that cause each other to fight each other.
man.
And it's so much because that's what leads to the domestic disturbances. That's what leads to the you know to the divorces and to the breakdown of the family unit that motivates my profession, being a firearms instructor. And I tell people, you do understand that I'm teaching you how to kill, right? And you do understand that there's a high likelihood you're going to end up killing somebody who looks just like you. And there's an even higher likelihood that it might be somebody related to you either by law, blood, or sex. So let's get to the root issues of this because teaching you how to press that trigger, that's nothing. Teaching you how to take a life, that's nothing. Because once you mentally get to that point where you value yourself and devalue that person, that's all it really takes is for you to turn that person into an object and not a person. And it's easy to take that person out without any feelings. That's the easy part. The hardest part is getting you to be able to live with it because if it's someone close to you, or there's unresolved trauma, you're just going to end up moving to a different zip code and accepting the same stuff that you've accepted before because you feel there's no other way.
So with that, I have one more question
Sure.
around that.
Mm-hmm.
You reminded me also in the office, see one of my kids, what's going on over the weekend, not this weekend, but that weekend. This is about us operating as people operating firearms, possibly in the scared capacity, not really realizing that, like you said, you're going to take a life and you might point it and not realize that you pull the trigger or whatever, right? The kids are fighting 7th and 8th grade, back and forth bullying or arguing. So over the weekend, they said a parent got involved and pulled out her gun on the kids. So, and I think, and the problem is, what if you had shot a child? Um, what is your thoughts on operating a gun in the wrong mindset, or I'm just defending myself, or I just need to pull it out to show people I'm not to be played with?
Still stems from unresolved trauma. For me, everything is going to always go back to childhood. And the reason why I keep going back to childhood is because there's a lot of people who have stuffed a lot of stuff that they have dealt with. And it's like, just imagine if this mother was a mother who was bullied herself. In the same fashion that you may have people, right? Thank you for that. For the same reason that you may have some people who, when they, some police officers is where I was meaning to go, where when they were bullied, being a police officer or being some kind of authority figure is a natural progression of perceived strength, not actual strength, perceived strength. I was bullied and I was helpless. I am now in the position where I am no longer gonna be helpless anymore. Anything that looks like it's attacking me, I'm ready for it. So you're uber defensive, you know? And so now these kids, because remember I said earlier, there's a lot of angry children inside of a lot of adults. So now you got this lady who has a gun. And let's take it off the lady because ladies get tagged as the most emotional, but men kill over a lot of emotional stuff. You see what I'm saying? And so now you got all these kids who remind this adult mother of the time that she was bullied, the time that she was messed with. But what's the equalizer? Now she got the gun. And now not only does she have a gun, but she got the soundtrack in the back. I'm just playing. But she got the gun, right? And so now she not having it. She ready to shoot all of them. When you're not taught the value of self, the value of people, the value of relationships, and the value of getting and giving resources from home, you can point guns at those kids because you don't see them as having any value.
Mm.
It stems from home. Just because you're an adult and have a child and stuff, that makes you an adult male, an adult female, a human. You're a human. That your human faculties work. That doesn't mean that there's a lot of. And then here's this: whatever approach that we have to come with them without shame or judgment. Because if we come to that adult with shame or judgment, guess what we're doing? We are re-triggering them. We're smacking them back at that trauma, and we're not doing any better than the person who harmed them the first time.
Mm. So, what do you think about the officer in Memphis who they said that Mr. Nichols was going with his ex-girlfriend or something like that?
Yeah, that's a wonderful question that you asked me. First of all, I will tell you this. The black community doesn't like the police. The white community does. White officers have off-duty training they can go to in the community where they can learn what not to do, decompress, talk about the stress of the day, stuff like that. And I'm getting to answer to your question because I got to preface it with that. The black community doesn't have that. So when you got black officers who go to be law enforcement officers and they experience things on the job, they have no one they can come back home to decompress with, right? Because you can't always tell it to your wife. You know, everybody ain't like Roxy who understand the job. Some wives, she was there for the dick. She wasn't there for the job. So it's like shit, the job pays, but you can't tell me nothing about it because I don't know nothing about nothing. Okay? So you got to keep that shit to yourself, right? So then here we go. That black officer did not have any retired or former cop to mentor him and say, look, bro, one, thank you for telling me the truth. Thank you for telling me you are really angry at the fact that you heard about some dude that's fucking around with your baby mama and shit. But you're gonna have to let this shit go. You're gonna have to let it go. You're gonna have to let it go. You're gonna have to let it go. Why? Because I know you want to fuck him up. See, the thing is that I guarantee you he had no one to talk to who would not shame him for really feeling the way that a lot of us feel. A lot of us got somebody we really want to fuck up, but we can't say the shit. Because if we say the shit, we're going to be shamed. We're going to be talked about. We're going to be snitched on. So that's another thing, too. We don't have safe communities where we can say this shit to without consequence. Because if I could get out all that stress and sit there and just, have you ever had a good ass argument and then after that you just want to go to sleep? That's stress. Now you don't even want to fuck the person up anymore because you don't let that shit all off. We need pressure releasing spaces where we can go on ahead and just get that shit off and then have somebody guide us back around to that. Here's the reason why you don't want to do that. One, you might not have been honest about the relationship that you got into when you got into it with her, right? Y'all was fucking when you were in your 20s. The vagina was good. You was giving her good sausage. But now she got eyes for something different, right? Nothing is going to ever last forever. And if we don't go back to his childhood and see that maybe he was abandoned as a kid, maybe he didn't get his love language dealt with, right? And what did he do? He went to policing for sustenance and security. Just like people go to the military for the same thing, it's psychological. And so I'm saying all that to say he wanted to beat the shit out of this guy because he felt that this person was in the way of this woman who represented the mommy issues that he had on the inside.
Mm.
No, you not gonna fuck her. I was with her. I gave her my seed and gave her a baby as a gift to keep her. No, you not gonna come in between that. Even though we not together, we together forever. Because you got some men, more than most, who impregnate women just to keep them because of their unresolved mommy issues. And mommy issues in the black community get made fun of and are never taken serious. This is why these men, when they see that the woman is getting ready to leave with the kid, they can't handle it. And what do? They delete the mom, the kids, and then themselves. Because if I can't have you, no one can.
What, family annihilators?
Yes.
Okay, yeah.
And so we can sit there and say, you are not a man when you do that. What would ever bring you to get to that point? Saying that, though it makes sense to say it, you're still not getting to the issue. Behavior is the symptom of the problem. And if all we're doing is talking about how we can't stand the problem, can't stand the behavior, we're still not getting to the problem. The problem is this. We got people like me, better than me, who deal in the behavioral management field, stuff like that, without shame or guilt, reaching out to people and helping them develop the more trauma that you have, the more coping mechanisms you need, positive coping mechanisms. I am of the belief, and I'll land with this, I am of the belief that there is no greater drug than trauma, because trauma has its various levels, but trauma is the gateway drug to other isms that you will use to cope. What are those isms? Sexahol, alcohol, narcotics, workaholism, accidentalism, the ism that theories don't have, that causes and events don't correlate. Trauma will motivate you to do some of the most ratchetest shit you would normally do had you had your stuff together.
Facts.
Facts. I'm just saying.
Wow. I'm impressed.
You know, it is. Oh my God, he fucks a lot. Right? That's cool, right? Who doesn't like that, right? But he also could be fucking stressed off from something else. You know what I'm saying? Oh my God, he's got 7 jobs. We in the money. But he don't like being at home. Oh my God, I'm catching the bag. Going to get degrees and jobs and shit. What are you running from? We all got this trauma. And that's why we can't do this man versus woman shit, because you get domestics, right? That's what this was. All this was a domestic fueled fight. And then you got all 5 of those officers with the body cameras on, bragging about beating the shit out this guy. That's very common in the hood when after you slide on the ops, you brag on social media. Tyree was an op. They slid on him. Now they bragging about it. Those weren't law enforcement officers. Those were inner city black men with that inner city mindset. in officers' clothing. Because if you take the badge off of them, that's just, everybody would have been like, that's just some niggas doing some shit. That's average. You see that every day in Chicago. Guys running after somebody, beating them up, going on social media bragging. This shit doesn't make national news. Well, it does, but not to that level. And so it's definitely not justified, but it's definitely understandable. Definitely understandable. And until we start valuing each other as a community, what is done to children, they will do to society. African proverb, a child not embraced by the village will burn it to feel its warmth. These children are burning down the fucking village because they're not feeling warmth anywhere. And until we start to value each other, to assist as much as we can, even if we just find one person to try to see their trauma, not enable them, not give them money, fuck that shit, but at least try to help them, we're going to be shooting each other. We're going to be shooting each other. I get what you're saying, Black Diamond. Same difference, though. Same difference. Because I'm looking at the human past the officer, past the cop. I'm looking at the human. We have not been, failure is a part of success if we learn from it, but we don't embrace our failures. We don't welcome those who went to prison back home and learn from them and where they fucked up so we can, learn what not to do. We don't do that.
Well, my thing with the whole thing that happened in Tennessee, it was us doing it to us, which, and I took the whole police thing out of it. It was Black people doing it to Black people.
Yeah.
And one of my biggest problems is we hurt each other so fucked uply. I just made that word up.
Write it down.
And we don't get as incensed when it's just regular, everyday people, not police officers doing it. I'm not scared of white people. I'm not worried about white people. I worry about people who look like these other three people in these boxes and the people within my chat. Because I'm going to be honest, I've never been got down on by no white person, ever. The people who have gotten down on me in my life have been Black people.
Yep.
What I've seen with that young man being beat to death was horrible.
Yeah.
It was a mob action. It was mob mentality.
Yep.
No one had the sense enough to tell anyone to stop, and people sat there and watched a complete train wreck and a young Black man be killed unmercifully. It was horrible and it was hurtful. It hurt me from a place because I have 5 Black sons. If it can happen to him, it can happen to anyone. But most of all, it's even worse that someone who looked just like him did that to him. So until we actually really learn to be kind to one another, and people learn how to accept kindness and stop looking at people who are kind as being weak or punks, we're not going to progress anywhere than where the fuck we are. And I mean it.
Yeah. Agreed.
I want to ask you one more question. I know we getting ready to wrap it up, and she just posted it. Should you tell your significant other that you're a firearm carrier? And if so, how soon should you tell
Let's define significant other. That's fair. I'm just saying, let's define significant other because, first of all, let's just say said significant other is me. I'm paying attention to any bulges, how you move. I would already know if you're carrying because of how you carry yourself. Okay.
them? Okay.
That would be one. Thank you. Appreciate that, Jam. That would be one. Two, just ask him or her, whatever. No, I'm not saying, but you get it.
Right.
Just ask the other person, what are their thoughts about firearms? You know, protecting
Okay.
yourself. You know, my thing is, I love, and I'm glad I'm on the chat. Roxy, we got to do this more.
Yes,
We got to fucking do this more because
brother, I'm here.
we got to bring the women together. Because I'm saying, dates that matter. Don't let the first date be, I mean, okay, you go to brunch, this shit's cool, right? But remember in The Color Purple, how he died on top of me. What I'm saying is, if he don't have a CPR card, he shouldn't smash. I'm getting to say dates that matter. Before we even get to the extracurriculars after dark, what kind of interview questions are you asking?
Right.
Mm-hmm.
What kind of dates that matter are you going on? You know,
Right.
what are your thoughts about firearms? Oh, I just heard about that situation where this such and such happened, such and such. Let's hear the intellect come out of the mind first to see where he's going. Because you may not even need to reveal that you carry firearms if he's like, look, I don't even understand why the hell that even boy even had a gun. None of these boys should have guns. Fuck guns. Ew. You know,
Right. Right. Right.
you know what I'm saying? You won't even have to say, oh, well, I carry. Why would you introduce that to a person who doesn't?
Exactly. Yes, I agree.
You know what I'm saying? So that's
Yep.
where the conversations and the situations got to come out that spark the that person showing their hand. You know, I, I'm one of those people. I hate to say it, but when a person is angry or you piss them off, you tend to find out when they get to their unfiltered self. You find out what they really feel. So I like throwing a little bit of spice into some shit. That's not how I really feel, but I like to see where the conversation goes because I can rear it back to the other way, and then just why the fuck you want to sit there and bring a pistol and shit? Women should not be carrying. Women should stay in their place. Now you got to run because now this person wants to control you
Exactly.
and take the gun out of your hand because if they can take the gun out of your hand, then they could really do whatever the fuck they want to do to you. And that's not something you want. My thing is, I can't even date somebody who can't carry. If you can't carry, then hey, don't sit there and think you're gonna hop your ass on my back and we gonna. That's not how shit's going down. It's four
I
hands are,
love it.
yeah, four hands are better than two. Two hands are better than one. You know, I gotta be able to cover 12. You gotta be able to cover 6. So we gotta move down this hallway watching our fields of fire. I'm gonna train
Right.
you tactically. You know, when I say go, right? You got to understand and be able to feel how I operate, pay attention to what I do, stuff like that. And I've been on dates or whatever the case may be where, why do you carry? Ooh, why, I don't know why you carry everywhere. Take care. I'm gone because now you all of a sudden some vagina. I'm gonna sit here and leave my gun at home. Shit go down. I got to use you as a shield so I can survive. I'm, I'm just saying, I don't have time. Don't even think you're gonna put me in that scenario. No, you know, I've had those situations. Why you carry all that stuff on you, and all of a sudden I take that stuff off just to make you happy. Now we're in a situation where we need a flashlight, and guess what? I don't have it on me because I need to make you feel good so I can fuck later on. I'm just saying that we can't do that. We have to be
Love
about
it.
safety because when the lights are out or when it's dark, you need to know I got that flashlight with me. I'm just saying you need to know that I'm prepared, right? And hopefully you're prepared too, so that we can help each other survive and fucking high five at the end that we was a goddamn team. And you'll never know that unless you ask those questions, you know. And if you or I or whomever, if we are a broken lock, we got to find the best way that we can safely to secure that lock, because two broken locks can't secure each other.
I agree.
And right
So,
on.
with
Woo.
saying that, everybody wants to date online. I personally, through not even direct online dating, like I've never been on the apps or whatever, but I've met a person off of Facebook or whatever, you thinking they're halfway vetted out. So, with the era of online dating and all of that,
Oh, excuse me.
and especially women have been assaulted, murdered, robbed. What is your stance on, number one, just dating offline, but two, carrying? And because I personally think, yeah, if you got one, you better take something to defend yourself, no matter how long you've been talking to a person online. But what are your thoughts on? Oh, it's a girl that sells like the whole keychain thing with that online, and they are
I
so
have one of those.
You saw how fast
That.
saw how fast
you could stab somebody with that.
I have one of those. It's on my keychain.
I'm
How do you hold it?
well,
There's in your fingers.
In your fingers.
In your fingers. There's a girl on Instagram. I'm finna find it and show it that sells these little packs like that.
but this
Is
one was
it steel?
this one was plastic. It's plastic. And what I do is, notice where I pulled it. I pulled it from around a place you didn't expect.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
Mm-hmm.
is you got to think, if I'm on my back, right, in a vulnerable position, what do I have near me where I can grab? Ladies, I want you to understand this. You have to use your finesse.
Mm-hmm.
You see, the thing is, I used to teach RAPE, because you can't say the word on YouTube. YouTube would cancel shit. So I used to teach that kind of prevention class. Look, the worst thing you can do is fight when it's not time to fight.
Yep.
Because for a sadist, a person who's a sadistic, the more you fight, the more they get emboldened to suppress, because it's the power that
Mm-hmm.
press. So when you play possum and you understand the angles and the timing of the attack, right? Even if the person is trying to carry out the sex act, there's spots of vulnerability. If they've got two hands, they've got to relinquish one to be able to get to the zipper, because the zipper don't unzip itself. They got to pull out the genital because it don't pull out on its own. Those are your spots to get to work on the carotid. You have to have the mindset of operating under stress to be able to carry it out. But you got to be able to practice these things in an environment where you're stress tested and your heart rate is elevated, right? And even before we even get to that point, the scenarios. Oh, it's so nice to meet you. How you doing? Your name is what again? Ooh, that's great. So let me ask you a question. I was just telling about my friend who just came across a situation where they met somebody online and blah, 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 blah happened. And you know what happened to her? She just sat there and got this. And I'm like, girl, I don't know what you talking about. I would have sat there and killed his ass. What do you think about that?
Mm.
You got to catch them off guard, because
Yeah.
here's the order of the the conversation. Oh, you look good. Damn, you got a fat, you got a big. Ooh, tell me where you from? What you like to do? Where you like to go? Ooh, I could. You know what I'm saying? It's always the emotional field stuff. We don't get down to brass tacks, situation based questions. And that's what happens when you have the glasses of emotions on going into that situation. Sometimes you got to throw a little, ooh, that shit came out of nowhere. You got to throw that out there.
Mm-hmm.
Because the
Mm-hmm.
like me, you would have been like, "Ooh, this person got blah 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 blah." I would have sat there and killed his ass. What you think I said? KILL, fucking for the thrill. Let's go. You know, that's, that's me. You talking my language.
Right.
You got to find out who you're dealing with.
Like it. Okay. Got it. Got it. Got it.
You got
So
to find out
basically,
who
what
you're.
you're saying is these blind dates that some of these women go on, they kind of need to let maybe the guy know that, hey, I'm crazy. Like I'll go there with you,
I'll green light your whole family. We didn't already build your social media profile.
Men love,
baby.
That's right.
men love crazy women for
Come
whatever
with
reason.
me. We gonna find your daughter and beat her in a soccer field or something like that. I'm just saying you gotta be. Look, psychology is known for saying if you fuck the mind, the body's gonna follow.
Wow.
You know, and there's a difference between you being crazy for real, because real men or whomever with sense can be able to see past that. You know, and then there are certain things such as silent confidence. Where are we meeting at? We shouldn't be meeting at no.
Right.
We shouldn't be meeting nowhere after dark unless we go fuck.
Right.
So
Right.
we got to be doing common area activities. Meet me in the food court.
Yeah. Yeah.
Meet me at the police station.
Yeah, come on, let's meet me at the police station. I got to go on ahead and file a report on the last person I had to lock up because they tried to stalk me and blah 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 blah. It'd be a whole lie, but it'd be like, "Last person tried to stalk you, nigga."
Or the last person I shot in the leg.
No, don't say that. Let me tell you what, they can look that shit up. You can't be going with lies that's easily researchable, open source.
Right. Right. Right.
You got
I
to go.
agree.
Last person trying to stalk me. That shit's not online because they don't, this don't make the news yet. You know.
Right.
So I got to go ahead and file a police report. Shit, he ran away somewhere. I don't know.
Being forewarned.
Awesome.
You know.
You are awesome, Mike. You are awesome.
Thank you.
You
All of
are
a sudden,
so awesome.
middle of a live, like, look, I can't believe what the hell just goddamn happened.
No, you didn't.
Oh, she pulling knives out of her. You gotta, yeah, yeah. Let a person know.
Yeah. 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 I have one of those whistles. It looks like a very nice necklace.
Yeah,
And it, if you feel as though that you're in a situation that you can't get out of, and at that time I wasn't carrying, but I have that on all the time, and you blow that, and I mean it just alerts everybody.
yeah.
Everybody just pretty much stops in their tracks.
But you gotta blow.
Oh wow.
You
They
gotta
can
blow.
hear it.
Yeah,
I
but you got.
can't find the exact page of the girl that I followed or that I was introduced to this stuff from,
Yeah,
but these,
I want one of these little cat face things.
I'm
yeah,
gonna get you one because these are they come in all kind of colors. The one girl that I saw, like, she makes the little boxes. It's in a little travel bag. Look, it looks really cute.
yeah,
That's why I liked hers the best because it looked like a little extra purse or a little big keychain. It was different ways that she packed it all in there, and it almost looks like a toy. But they come with these. Everything is supposed to do a function to
Mm-hmm.
help you, just like you gave me um that when you gave me that flashlight.
Okay.
And these things, they all have different
I
functions.
just I want to get the little cat one before I take Maddie back to school because she be all over campus and want to go to Starbucks. I'm going to order that for her tonight.
yeah.
Yeah, I have one of those.
That's the one with all of them on there with the
Because
in their keychain. It's a big keychain, so well, we don't want no lashes. But
Yeah.
they're called
yeah.
self-defense keychains.
But even if you don't have that, the type of pens that you carry,
Mm-hmm.
writing instruments, they work well.
I
But
have one with the shank in it, and I've gotten through TSA with it
yeah,
quite a few times.
I have too.
yeah,
Oh, I don't be doing all of that shit.
Well, I gave it to my daughter when she said to start riding the bus to school. I said, baby, you never know. Just jug and run. Just jug and run.
that's it. That's it.
I mean, you catch a person on that left side of that neck, and it could be as good as over in
That's it.
not even a minute.
You're right. That's it. And the thing is, whatever you do, you got to be willing to go all the way or not at all the way or
All the
not.
way.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah.
Poke and run.
Yep.
Poke and run.
Yep.
You know, a lot of people don't even know hit that left leg, that femoral artery,
I'm telling you, because
and run.
while you down there about to, I'm just saying,
Yeah.
while it's in your face. Don't mind me, I'm stupid. But I'm just saying.
No, it's
The
truthful.
femoral artery
It's
is
truthful, and sometimes people just need to know that.
right. The femoral artery is right there by Mr. Johnson.
Yeah, it is.
It's
And
right.
guess what? It's mere seconds. If they even tried to chase you,
Yeah.
the fight ain't gonna last too long.
No, because as soon as you run and when you run it, you're
That
pumping.
heart,
So now it's an
and
arterial
it's
split.
gonna just
Yeah.
gonna start. It's gonna be squirting out. It comes out so fast, and what's crazy is it comes out so fast and so quick.
Yeah.
It don't look red.
Yeah.
It don't look red. They call that the blue vein blood.
I'm coming out.
Okay, well, apparently Mr. Mike has something to do.
Yeah. Yeah.
I would just like to thank Dion for coming up. I would like to thank Princess for being here, but most of all, I would like to thank Instructor Mike for being here and giving us his knowledge and information. Please, Mike is on YouTube.
Yes.
Please follow him.
Yeah.
And he and I will be coordinating later on to, give more talks about things. This was very productive this evening. And I appreciate everyone who is in the chat and the people who are in the bushes. Also, please hit the like button. And God bless you all. Thank you so much. This was very productive.
Yes.
And I
Yeah.
will be back later after my phone charges, just to do a recap in case anyone wants to discuss anything that they heard or anything like that. But
Me
thank
too.
you guys so much. Appreciate you all. Have everyone have a safe weekend, and I'll see you in a little bit. Thank you, ladies, for being here. Thank you again, Mike, and thank
Oh,
you, chat.
okay now.
Thank you,
All right,
Mike.
Bye
all
bye.
right, all right. Bye bye.
See ya.